computer. Okay, we're away.
Wow. Good morning, swappers and future swappers. My name is Charlie Nichols, and I'm the past president of Global Swap Inc. And I'll be your host today, as our president, Greg Aldred, is ill this morning. So get well soon, please, Greg. Now, thank you all for being here. We're going to have some fun today, whether you like it or not. Them's the rules. So for any new guests that may be here today, and I'm not quite sure who's here and who's not here. I'm having a bit of a problem with Zoom this morning, so I'm not quite sure how we're going to get through this, but we will get through it. I'll quickly go through the agenda for you so there will be no surprises, all right? I'm going to start with the swap creed first. I like the swap creed, so I'm going to start with that this morning, and then apologies, and then we'll have, we've got a couple of apologies today, and then we're going to welcome our guest speaker and our guests and our committee. Now, everybody then gets an opportunity to give their thought of the day. Now, you have 30 seconds or so to introduce yourself, and you can give a plug for your business if you're in business, or your passion or your job. And also today, if you have a tip or two about who is going to win the cup, we would love to hear what your tips are. And as you already got a free ticket to go into our sweep, Greg has donated a $30 for the winner, $20 for the second, and $10 for the third. So thanks, Greg. And apparently they're going to be paying you by PayPal if you happen to be one of the lucky winners. Now, we always have a thoughts judge, so you could be today's winner. All right. Now, then we'll have a 2-minute break so you can get yourself a cuppa while the thoughts judge deliberates. However, once again, today is a mystery. We don't know who the thoughts judge is. It could be you. I could call on you at the end of the thoughts to say, can you please judge the thoughts? So listen closely, and you could be our thoughts judge, all right? Before we introduce our 5-minute speaker, we'll also have what we call the wins of the week. So if you have something to brag about, get ready to share that. And we've got plenty of time to do that today. After our 5-minute speaker, who happens to be Anne Carlson, we have a couple of minutes of housekeeping, and I'll call on the people on the committee for that as well. That will lead us into the main event as our keynote speaker is introduced. So, is everybody ready?
I'm ready.
No. You ready? I've got somebody ready. Now, as I said, I like to start with a swap creed, so let me begin with that. I do hereby promise and pledge that from today onward, I will continually strive and think in a positive manner and have positive thoughts with regard to my profession and the life I am living. I realise the importance of the right attitude and make this pledge as I'm aware of the truth in the law stating, as a person thinks in their heart, so they shall be. Now, apologies. We've got apologies from Leslie Wagner, Alex Easton from New Zealand, Michael Hagan from the Philippines, Walter Vecchiet. Have we got any other apologies, please?
I think that's it.
That's it? Oh, I'm doing all right so far. So, everyone, please welcome our keynote speaker today, Steve Pike. Yay! Welcome, Steve.
Thank you
ready.
so much
You'll
for
be on
having
soon.
me.
Yeah. And also welcome to our committee. They do an excellent job in the background. And also welcome to all members. Do we have any guests here today?
We do have some guests.
Would you please introduce
V is a guest, and I've just got to put in there that Julie White is our new member, latest new member. So yeah.
Oh, excellent! Thank you, and welcome V. Is that AV or BV? Which V is that?
One.
All right. Well,
The
time for the
MSID
thought of the
is on
day.
the committee.
Right, yes. Now, remember, you could be our thoughts judge. Now, I haven't got a list of who's online, and I'm having a problem with Zoom this morning. So I'm going to get Rhonda just to tell us, start off with her thought of the day, and then introduce the next one, and then the one after that, and then the one after that, to make sure that we get everybody. So Rhonda, I'll let you take that over. Thank you.
Okay, I am Rhonda Buttery, and my business has two areas of activity. One is that I provide people with the best nutrition on the planet, with supplements that are made from food instead of petrochemicals, which most of them are. And my other area of work is selling and teaching people how to use astrology software. And my thought of the day is, you can't go back and make a better start. You can only go on and make a better finish.
Excellent. Thank you. And who would be our next one? Do you want me to do the next one?
Now, the next one I'll give to Yvonne, but she'll have to turn her microphone on.
Yeah, there's drilling in the building. So yes, hello. So Yvonne Collier, Madison Training in sunny Neutral Bay, Sydney today, and Madison Training. So I actually help people get along with each other better. Too. And here's my actually favorite quote. So it's, life is a challenge, meet it. Life is a dream, realize it. Life is a game, play it. And life is love, enjoy it. Yay! I love that. And it's been attributed to Mother Teresa, to Sai Baba, and to many, many people. I just adore it. So thank you. And I'm looking forward to today. Lovely to see. I fancy having two V's, a V and a V.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. Oh, you pick the next one, Rhonda. Yes.
No, you pick the next
one.
one.
I pick the next one. Well, I'll have the Comstock.
Nice.
Well, aloha,
Hello.
everyone. Thank you, Yvonne. I am a public speaker, and I am just finishing my first book. So I'm an author that hasn't been published just yet, but I'm hoping in the next 3 months. And my focus is on being present and making a difference and bringing vibrant peace and connection and freedom in the world. And my quote of the day would be, when doing becomes infused with the timeless quality of being, that is success. By Eckhart Tolle.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. So who's next?
Who would you like next, V?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll go for V. Emerson.
Thank you. Okay, can you all hear me? Okay.
It's a little bit spotty. You got Bluetooth on.
Okay. Can you hear me? Just one just or okay. Okay.
Can you turn off the Bluetooth and just talk through the microphone on the computer?
No microphone on the computer, that's the problem.
Ah, okay.
I can hear you now.
That though?
Yeah, I hear you
Okay,
better.
That's better.
Oh, great. Okay, there we go then. Okay, everyone, thank you. My name is V. Emerson, and I work in real estate at the moment. I live on beautiful Gold Coast, and my thought of the day is, a good mood doesn't mean your life is perfect. It means that you've chosen to be happy despite imperfections.
Thank you.
And the next one.
Yeah, choose the next.
Yes.
I will go to Jeremy. You're up.
Jeremy.
Thank you. All right, Jeremy Britton from Boston Trading Co. We make crypto investing safe and simple for everyone. I'm wearing my Bitcoin hat. I've been wearing it the last 2 days. I've had this hat for a very long time, more than a year, but it's only been safe to wear it for the last 2 days. When the market's down, everybody doesn't want to talk to me, or they want to throw stones at me. But once Bitcoin's up 100% for the year, Solana is up 77% in the last 21 days, all of a sudden I'm popular again. So
Yay!
good fun. I can wear my hat without getting beaten up. My thought for the day is, You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Lee Harvey Oswald.
Excellent.
Or Wayne Gretzky, I've heard it attributed to. Yes.
More funny if it's Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah.
Is it too soon for that? Is it too soon? I'm not sure. It's been 60 years. So.
Who's next, Jeremy?
Who's next, Jeremy?
Next, I'm just totally digging Pat's hat. I didn't realise until she put her head down a bit that there was. I just thought it was a normal beanie, and I saw these mushrooms. I'm like, oh my god, that's the best hat I've ever seen.
Pretty wild.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. For the last Joyology actually is 21. And I've been in those years supporting people to experience well-being and looking after people's mental health in the workplace have been my core things. More recently, coming back into my art, and I recently saw a Picasso exhibition here, and I want to share a quote from him. A great fire burns within me, but no one stops to warm themselves at it, and passers by only see a wisp of smoke. And to see how prolific his work was, given that he was not paid any attention in his lifetime, is just incredible that he could continue. Amazing.
And who's next, Pat?
Yep, I'm just I'm trying to think of it. Susan.
Hey, thought you were going to choose me. I've been chatting with Pat because I haven't seen her for many, many years, and it's nice to see you, Pat. Okay, my quote is, well, actually, I'm living in Phoenix, Arizona, and I don't have a business, but I actually work for the local county. I've been working there for the last 12 years in public health, and I have a job that I really love to do. Happiness, this is from the Dalai Lama. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Good one.
Lovely. And who's next, Susan?
Oh, yes, that is true. Harry, thank you.
Harry, great. That's me. Morning all, my name is Harry. I am lucky enough to be working in Queensland with some great properties, selling, buying and watching them being built and being sold off for people to live in. So if you want to talk about property, let me know. My thought for the day comes from the wonderful, one of the very, very, very first people I got inspired with a long time ago, Brian Tracy. Move out of your comfort zone. You can only grow if you are willing to feel awkward and uncomfortable when you try something new. And the next person is the lovely Julie Wyatt. Go, Julie.
Hey guys, sorry I had to unmute myself. Lovely to be here. Thank you for the invite, Harry. So I'm in sunny Perth in Western Australia, where it is very early. I run a company called Chicks That Renovate. As the name suggests, we are all female. We run a renovation business for helping homeowners facing life challenges by renovating their homes at no cost to themselves and in 120 days. And my thought for the day, and I'm not sure who wrote this, but I just loved it. So kindness in words creates confidence. Kindness in thinking creates profoundness. Kindness in giving creates love.
Oh, very nice.
Thank you.
Very good.
And next, Julie.
Who haven't we heard from? Anne.
Okay. Well, you know what? Mine is quite similar to Rhonda's. With it being Melbourne Cup, it's like in life, as in horse racing, it's not where you start, it's where you finish.
Yeah.
Very good. Yep. And who do you choose, Anne?
Oh, that's right. Steve.
Thank you very much, Anne. I didn't come prepared, and there's some of these which have absolutely blown my mind. I love them. My thought, which is my thought, is that your business, my business, every family can change the world. The question is not whether you can, the question is whether you will.
Yes.
Yes, excellent.
And that leaves Charlie. Everybody's had
Am
a
I the
turn,
last
haven't
one,
they?
am I?
I
You
think
are.
so.
All right, well, I'll have a go as well then. My name is Charlie Nichols, and I'm a co-host of the Lao Lake House. And I live here in Lao, and as it is very early here, 5 o'clock in the morning. And Lao, in case you don't know, is called the land of 1,000,000 elephants, or at least they used to have 1,000,000 elephants. But anyway, now my tips for the Melbourne Cup. I'm going to give my tips for the Melbourne Cup: number 3 and number 6. That is Without a Fight from Ireland and Soul Come from Great Britain. All right. And my thought of the day is something that I made up, and I'm seriously considering putting it on a t-shirt. If you know me, I love my t-shirt, and it goes a little bit like this: as things go wrong, as they sometimes do, use a 4-letter word to get you through. Next. All right, so is that the end of the thoughts? Now we've got to choose a thoughts judge, and I hope you are all listening. And I think I'm going to choose Pat, my mate Pat, as the thoughts judge. So what we're going to do now is have a 2-minute break. Say you can get yourself a cup of coffee or whatever while Pat goes through the replay of all the thoughts, and then when we get back, she can judge our thought of the day. And then we'll also have the wins of the week. So remember, get yourself ready for if you've got something to share. All right. So 2-minute break, all. Thank you.
Well, good.
But you can talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, please do. I'm not going to pause the recording. I'm terrified of forgetting to turn it back on again.
That's all right. We're good.
I'm glad I'm not the only one challenged with technology.
No, technology is always going to be challenging non-stop, no matter what we do.
That's memory, not technology.
Oh, is that what it is? I forgot about that.
My computer is still from Germany from 2009, and I'm just happy it still works.
Oh, wow.
I bought it at an
Unbelievable.
and German quality is just amazing.
Yeah. Does it have a brand, or is it one of those
Yeah, Lenovo.
Oh, Lenovo. Is that a German brand?
Apparently. I mean, I'm guessing. I wasn't marketing it. I just bought it because it was a good price, a good deal, and someone said
Yeah, right.
it was worthy
Yeah,
of.
I bought a Lenovo about 5 years ago.
They're all over us. I mean, they're all over. When you go to the office places, they're everywhere. They've got them, small ones, mini ones, huge ones, desktop ones. I didn't know they were German. There you go.
Yeah, well, I still don't know for sure, but they are well made, and this thing's like like one of those old-fashioned cars.
Yeah.
They just keep, ticking.
Keep going. Yeah.
Not so pretty and a little clumsy, but it's worth it because I don't have to relearn the computer.
Yeah, right. I've got a little Apple, I think I bought it in 2011. And the only problem with it still works. The only problem with it is it has no more memory, and you can't add memory to Apples after the fact. If you want memory, you've got to do it when you buy it. So that's my only problem. If I want to use it, I have to have an external hard drive to be able to use it. But otherwise, 2011 and it's still pumping along. So I've got it backed up with everything in there. So if it dies, it dies. But I'm a bit attached to it, so I don't want to get rid of it. I don't like throwing things out.
Yeah, I mean, if it's
as long as it still goes on and off, then I'm gonna. Yes. And that was bought from the US.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. I like the US. Emotionally attached to it. Nice
well,
people.
next time you're in the US, give me a holla.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're closer. You're in Hawaii.
Yes, I am. I'm on the Big Island.
Is only what, I don't know, Jeremy, how far is Hawaii? 9 hours away from us?
Hawaii is, yeah, it's much closer to Australia than it is to the US.
Yeah, yeah.
We should totally invade, take it over.
Yeah. Because Los Angeles, a flight out of Sydney or Brisbane to Los Angeles is 14 hours. So I could leave at 9 o'clock in the morning. We could be having dinner that day.
I love the way you think. I'll pick you up at Kona Airport.
I'll be there. I'll tell you when.
That'd be a hoot.
That would be a hoot, yeah. I'm sure Sandy would love to come too.
Oh my gosh, I would love Sandy and Dipna too. In fact, Dipna in 2015 invited me to Hawaii, and that's how I ended up in Australia.
Yeah.
So, you know, it'd be a fun reunion.
Keep that thought. We'll work on that one.
I like the way you think, Carrie.
Plan a swap conference in Hawaii,
Julie's a wildly wealthy woman.
Julie.
That's how I know her.
Well done.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago, Harry. Come on.
Oh, darling, we're still young.
Wild
I know.
wealthy never wears off.
I thought that was a while ago.
I had to change rooms.
Righto. Okay, folks. Are we back again?
We're all back.
Now, Pat, have you got a good got someone that you're going to award the thought of the day to?
Yes, quite hard actually this time. The also strongly motivational and inspiring. And in the end, I chose with what I think humanity needs right now. So that was Julie Wyatt's quote on kindness.
Nice.
Ah, excellent. Can you repeat it, please, Julie?
Sure. I can't remember who the quote was from, but it just touched me as well. Kindness in words creates confidence. Kindness in thinking creates profoundness. Kindness in giving creates love.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Right, now let's move on to the wins of the week.
Can I ask who we've got coming in on that phone number? It doesn't show a name.
That's V. Emson, because she's had problematic audio. Yeah. It's another
somebody
hitchhiker.
else on. Oh no, she's on twice. Okay, don't mind me.
Okay. Let's have some wins of the week. I'll kick it off because I have a great win of the week. My 8th great-grandchild was born last week, Giovanni.
Oh, wow. Congratulations, Charlie.
Congratulations.
Which I was very, very pleased about. And which surprised me, Giovanni is a girl. I always thought Giovanni was a boy's name, but apparently it can be applied to girls as well. So Giovanni is my 8th great-grandchild. Who else has got a win of the week?
Yes, I have. I've exhibited and sold a lot of my art in New Zealand, but I've sold nothing nor exhibited back here in Australia. So at the moment, I'm submitting for funding to do a solo exhibition called Mute Appeal, created as a result of working with a young man who at the height of his emotional turmoil sutured his lips together. And he really just touched my heart in a way few others have. And I really just saw, I think, some of the devastation that's been perceived by people out there this last few years especially. So it's dedicated to him, and it's being a voice for that which people don't want to hear and that which people can't find the voice for. So I'm really excited.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks, Pat, for sharing that. Anybody else got a win of the week? Come on, folks.
Every day's a win.
Every day is a win.
Yep.
I'll add
That's
one.
it. Okay.
I'll add
Go,
one.
Harry.
So my win of the week is I have some very good friends living here locally, who I've been able to help sell their uncle's property, who passed away shortly after we sold it, and now they've got their property for sale. So they had an interesting week. They went to go into their driveway and the tree fell right in front of their driveway. But we got that cleared up and it's on the market and for sale. So yeah, they're very happy about that. Finally.
Excellent. Excellent. We've got time for one more. Anybody else would like to share? No? Okay, we're moving on then to Rhonda. Rhonda is going to announce what she believes is the winner of the best dressed.
Yes. Oh, it's actually the best hat. And I was hoping I wasn't having to do that yet.
Hat.
It's really hard to choose. We've got Harry in her lovely all pink. And like Jeremy, I didn't see the top of Pat's hat until she moved. And it was quite a surprise. I'm very taken with Anne and I'm very taken with Susan. So it's almost an eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And I think I'm going to give it to Pat on the basis of creativity.
Oh, thank
Yay.
Oh,
Totally agree.
Congratulations, Pat. Let's move on to a quick housekeeping. Have we got any housekeeping? I know we have our AGM coming up, but when is that, Harry?
That will be on Sunday, the 29th of November. It will be first thing in the morning. So if you've got a luncheon or a family event, you don't have to miss that. You can get up and have a cup of coffee with us early in the morning. Sort of 8:30, we'd like to get started before 9, and everyone's welcome to come along and watch the proceedings. Members can vote. If you'd like to be on the committee, we would love to have you. We would love to have all the positions filled on that day. You don't have to do too much, because if we're all doing a little bit, it helps. And we want to be able to keep global swap going around the country and do all sorts of other things that are on the list for swap, and for people that are in the US or Hawaii or WA, that they can meet and network and tell us what they're up to and what they're doing, and support each other. And of course, down the track, we'd love to have some physical meetings. You never know, we might get to Hawaii, we might get to California, we might get to anywhere. So UK. So please come along. Sunday the 29th, I've sent the email out and I'll send a reminder out again next week.
And all positions will be declared open, so you can nominate
yes.
any position from the president all the way through. All right. And we've got a convention coming up. What's the date of our convention?
25, 26, 27 April, or 27, 28, whatever it is. Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
It's in April.
Yeah, it's in April.
Yeah, and it's on the Gold Coast, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's 26, 27, 28 on the Gold Coast.
Oh, April. Right. Well, we've got plenty of time to do all that. Now, Jeremy, would you like to introduce the introducer that introduces Anne?
Well, it may not be voted the best hat, but I think it's the best outfit, because Harry's got the pink top, pink glasses, and the pink ribbon. So, and the pink nails. Oh my God. There you go. Best outfit.
Gotta have fun.
Go, Harry.
Thanks, Jeremy. Well, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce today Anne Carlson. Our wonderful Anne is a speaker, a coach, a teacher, a facilitator who especially loves to help those in their second half of life to conquer the challenges with purpose, joy, and growth. And growing up in rural town, the USA, she's taught in Thailand after college, then after 15 years in swap in Australia. Wow. Important part of developing her skills and outlook. She now resides in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, USA, and enjoys leading others to virtual mountain top experiences in their own lives with her company, Winning Your Second Half. It's my sheer pleasure, Anne. Welcome as our speaker today.
Well, thank you so much. It's a delight to be here, as always. You know, I got a question for you. Do you ever feel like you have just run out of gas? Like your tank is on empty? Maybe something totally unexpected has hit you hard, like a health challenge or a diagnosis of some kind that causes some fear, a relational breakdown, a financial crisis. Maybe you made a bad mistake. The results are just draining you. Well, last Tuesday, October 31st at 7:50 a.m., I can tell you my tank was empty. I had miscalculated and I just ran out of gas. Only this was literally, I was stuck on the side of a freeway in very unfamiliar territory. And I was on a 2-day journey from Tennessee and the east side of the states to Colorado and the west side of the states. And when I left the hotel that morning, my gas tank wasn't full, but I had calculated my journey and I thought, well, I got plenty of gas for perhaps 2 hours and it was going to be like an 11-hour day of driving. And so that 2 hours would be a good time to stop for stretching and filling up with gas and coffee, or petrol and coffee. And I chose to go on this brand new tollway, which had little traffic. I'd never been on it before. It was beautiful and you could just travel at really high speeds. And there were, even with relatively high winds. And so when I saw the light on my dash was indicating that I was low on gas, and it was less than an hour from when I'd left, I was really shocked. How could that have happened? And you know, I think back and I had an extended time of warming up my car because there was frost on it that morning. And while I was checking out of the hotel, I had it going. And I also was going at high speeds into a high wind. And I guess that really just cut my gas mileage way down. The only trouble was this was a brand new tollway and there were no off ramps or gas stations on this tollway yet, and it was quite a while before it intersected with a main freeway. And so it was yikes. And I thought, oh Lord, get me to the freeway and get me to a gas station. Well, yay, I made it to the freeway. I could get off of that tollway, and then shortly, oh no, my car suddenly slowed down and then it just stopped. And I was 3.8 miles or about 6 kilometers from the next gas station. And I was stranded off on the side of the road. And so, hell, what was I going to do? Well, I called 911 and they connected me with the Oklahoma Highway Patrol. And within about 20 minutes, this wonderful Highway Patrol officer arrived. I said, "You are my hero. Thank you so much." And he got out of the car. He was so kind and pleasant, and he filled my tank with more than enough gas to get me to the gas station. And he wouldn't accept any payment, and he just wished me a great trip. And as he was leaving, again, I said, "Thank you so much. You are my hero." So what did I learn from my little adventure? Well, here are 3 takeaways, I thought, for life and for all of us. First, plan your journey and destination carefully. Expect that there are going to be detours and mishaps along the way. Secondly, find blessings in the journey and be a blessing to others along the way. You know, I thought I have gone through so many, I've had miracles where God has protected me and provided for me in my car. And I thought, why not this time? What happened? God showed me how he had provided and protected me in many, many ways on that. I reached the main freeway. The weather was sunny. The day before, I traveled for hours in rain. The patrol officer had gotten there. He had the gas. And they had asked me when I was to tell me what mile marker I was at. Well, how would I know? I don't pay attention to those little marker signs as I'm racing down the road. I looked, and here within a few yards of my car was the mile marker. I mean, it was just like there were blessings all over this whole experience. But but you know what? God also told me this wasn't really about me. It was about the highway patrolman. And I don't know what he had experienced that morning. I don't know what his week had gone like, but God knew that he needed to hear that he was a hero. And I had told him twice with great enthusiasm that he was a hero. And so I was just the vehicle that God used to help someone else on the road they were traveling. And, you know, I was listening to a podcast yesterday and it talked about HOPE as an acronym. HOPE, help one person every day. Well, that's a great philosophy. Who can we help today? Who can you help today? Who can I help today? And then 3, when your tank is empty, and better yet, even before your tank is empty, ask for help. We need others to travel with us to finish this journey. And I am so grateful for SWAP, because SWAP for many years was a great help to me. So thank you.
Oh, wow.
Thanks, Anne. Really appreciate that. That was great inspiration for first thing in the morning. Jeremy, who's going to introduce our main speaker?
Muted, Jeremy.
Are you on mute, I think?
Jerry on mute.
Yep, now it's working. That'll be the lovely V. Empson.
Good, thank you.
Okay, everyone can hear me?
Yes.
Great. All right. In this fast-paced presentation, former UK Entrepreneur of the Year, Steve Pipe, will explain why he set his goal to create 100 smiles by giving 100 million days of help to those in need around the world by 2030. He will show how he has used the ideas in his critically acclaimed TED Talk, Tipping the Global Legacy Scales, and in his book, Our Time to Rise, to already A, personally create over 6 million of those smiles, and B, inspire hundreds of other impact-driven families and businesses to create a further 36 million smiles. Steve will reveal the practical keys to doing the same in your business and life.
Thank you.
Thank you
Excellent.
very much, V. Wow. I'm sure my mum and dad wouldn't recognize any of that.
I've just muted everybody. Steve, would you please unmute yourself?
I had done that, but clearly I hadn't. You sent me a lovely message reminding me to do it. I thought I'd done it. And
No, you probably unmuted before I muted everybody else. So as long as we're square, that's fine. Let me find you.
That's awesome. That means I'm not quite so rubbish as with technology as I thought
No,
I
it's
might.
just.
But I was just thanking V. I had tried to thank V for that lovely introduction, which I don't think my parents would recognize in the slightest. I love the HOPE acronym, by the way. I absolutely love that. Never heard that. Help one person every day. I try to live by that, although actually I have a daily routine that involves helping 17 people a day, and we might get a chance to see how I do that, because it is an example of the things I would love to talk about. I am passionate about making the world a better place. I actually sold my business 12 years ago so that I could focus on that in sort of very early retirement at 50. I've not been earning any money for the best part of the last 10 years by choice, because I felt it was much more important that I use my voice. The few things I'm able to write, there's my book over my shoulder, and the audiences that I'm able to get in front of, to try and take this message, which was in my sort of thought for the week, of that we all can make a difference for our business and our lives. In fact, we can change the world. The question is not whether we can, the question is whether we will. My goal is to unlock 100 million days of help to tackle the sustainable development goals, this codification of the 17 key challenges facing humanity and the planet: poverty, hunger, lack of access to education, clean water, sanitation, climate change. The list goes on and on and on. Some of us may have more of a focus on some of those, one or more of those 17, but it's a beautiful codification of the challenges we face, and a set of goals that humanity has signed, every civilized country in the world has signed up to achieve by 2030. So we only have 7 years to go. And so my goal is to help contribute towards that by helping to unlock 100 million days of help. Each of those days of help I think of as a smile, hence the use of the smile in V's introduction, and to do that by baking more kindness into everything we do. So it was lovely to hear the quotes before. I now get a real sense of the values of this group, and there is such an alignment between clearly the values that were showing up in all of those wonderful quotes and the values that I try to live by. So I spent the last 12 years trying to work out how to do the things that I wanted, that I'm passionate about. And I want to share with you in the next 30 minutes or so, and make it as easy as 1, 2, 3, literally to do this, to distill everything I've learned over those 12 years and to make it as easy as 1, 2, 3. And maybe we'll also talk about the way in which I try and help 17 people a day. But 1, 2, 3 is kind of the theme. I was a professional speaker, and I still stand up on stages when I'm invited to do so. And I use PowerPoint in those days. I don't use PowerPoint anymore. I will share my screen with you at times to show you things, because that's the most powerful way of helping to sort of consolidate the message. But there will not be death by PowerPoint in this whatsoever. But the 1, 2, 3 idea is, first let's start with 1. This is about one singular purpose, although we may have a different, each have a different take on it. But for me, the singular purpose is to make things better, in areas that matter most to you. And to me, that might be around climate change and environment and sustainability and poverty and hunger. It might be, and it certainly is all of those things. To someone else, to you, it might be another one of the challenges or something else that matters to you, for whatever reasons. And the singular purpose that we have is to make things better. So that's the 1, that's the purpose that drives everything I'm going to look at here. So there's one purpose, although we'll all have different takes on that. I see there being 2 routes to that purpose. In fact, I'm going to share my screen with you, not because it's in any way fancy, but just because it helps to reinforce the point. So hopefully my host disabled screen sharing. It would be great actually if my screen sharing could be turned on, not specifically for this bit, although it would be great now if it is, but particularly in a few minutes, there's some things I really must show you and share with you on screen. So if whoever's got the admin for this group, I'm still
just click the green button down the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, I do, but it says host disabled participant screen sharing. So somewhere in the Zoom settings, you've not you, but the default setting is probably that we, the mere participants, as opposed to the host, can't share their screen.
It's not usually. Try now, Steve.
Okay, let me try again. Oh yes, now that's working fantastic. It's just one of those things that occasionally crops up. I say this isn't a fancy screen. I have some screens which fill me with inspiration. This is just a backdrop screen. I said, we've got this one purpose to make things better in the areas that matter most to you. I see there being 2 routes to that purpose. The first route is through business, and the second route is through our family. And for many of us, it actually be both. And for me, it is both of those routes. The 2 routes that I want to just sort of introduce are how we can use our business for good, how we can create better global, emotional and financial results for our business and the world. And the stuff we're going to look at will enable us to do that. Some of us may have moved beyond being in business. I effectively have. Most of you sound like you are still in business. That's great. But we also are no doubt part of a family, even if it's a very small family of ourselves. And there's a second route that we can use this stuff, which is through our families. And specifically this idea of creating a family foundation. I reached out to, I didn't actually finish it, but I when we were talking earlier, I was intrigued and I looked at 1 or 2 of your LinkedIn profiles, and V, I came across yours, and it showed me at the bottom that you follow and you're a supporter of Bill Gates, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation was there on your LinkedIn profile. Well, that's really interesting because we all think that maybe the likes of multimillionaires Bill Gates and Bill and Melinda can have foundations, but I don't know about in every part of the world. In the UK, a foundation is not a prescribed word. There's no legal meaning behind that. So which means I can set up and indeed have a foundation for my family, by which I mean a vehicle through which we can as a family create a legacy. We can live and leave a legacy that is both wonderful for our family and for the world. And again, the things that we're going to look at can be used in through both of these 2 routes, both these vehicles, through our business and through our family. Although given that most of us are still in business, maybe the first one, which is The business for good route is in fact what my book, Our Time to Rise, is primarily about. It's a step-by-step guide to doing that. Now, by the way, I'm pointing to my book. I will give you all my book. I'm not selling this book. In fact, I'm unlike any other author, and probably including V, actually, when you publish your first book. I've written 9 or 10 now. And this is the one that, unlike some of the previous books where I've worked hard to try and get somewhere on Amazon, even if only very briefly, then you capture the screenshot and you're Amazon best-selling author. This book, I want to be the least successful book on Amazon ever. It's on Amazon, but I want to sell 0 copies, and so far we've succeeded. Because actually what I want to do is give away 1 million copies, and as you'll see, because I don't want the price tag for a book to get in the way of the message, and the message is an extended version of what we're about to look at. So that's the backdrop. That's the one purpose, the 2 routes. Let's look at the 3, which is my next screen down here. There are 3 simple steps to doing this, and I want to drill down and particularly share my screen to make some of these much more real. The 3 simple steps are, we need to set, I would suggest, a target. Just imagine if either in your business or in this family foundation as a family, you set a target of providing 100,000 days of help to those in need by 2030. There's nothing magical about either of those figures, the date or the 100,000. It's just an example of how, by setting a target, we can galvanize action. You'll see more of what I mean about that in a minute. And you might be thinking, well, 100,000 days of help, how are we going to do that? Well, actually, that can be funded for less than $150 a year. So entirely doable, however small the business is, however modest the means of the family are. So setting a target, a great place to start. Second step, and we'll look at each of these in more detail, is systemize it so that it's guaranteed to happen. Otherwise, the target is just, it's just a statement of, it's a wish statement, whereas a target backed up by a system is going to happen. And you'll see what I mean by that system in a minute. But for example, every morning, one of the very first things I do is I jump on my computer and I make 17 good things happen. I help 17 different people systematically. It's on my to-do list every single day. In fact, I'm an old-fashioned to-do list person. Top of my to-do list there. First one is remember to take my medication, my blood pressure tablets, and second one is giving. That's to help in 17 people. And the pink highlighter means I've done it today already. Plenty of other things on my to-do list not done, but that was definitely done right at 8 a.m. this morning. And the third of the steps is to tell your story, to tell the story of what you're doing, using words and numbers to make it real and powerful, but in a way that inspires others. Because when we inspire others, instead of being kinder in a vacuum, we are kinder in a way that actually galvanizes action in others, and the ripples of kindness spread out and become a tsunami of kindness. So really those are the 3 simple steps. And what I wanted to do is drill down into those. I'm going to just stop sharing the screen a second, drill down into those in a little bit more detail and give you a real sense of how we can do that. How each of us can do that through our businesses or in our family or both. It's your call. All of those things are made possible by a set of tools created by, for me at least, I don't know any other way of doing those things than through a set of tools that are created by the charity B1G1. And so my gift to you will be, I will, if you would like, pay for and set you up with those tools. So because those tools are the only way I know to do this, and they make it all really easy. So there is a set of tools. We might get to see a little bit of them in a second. My hope is that at the end of this session, literally at the end of the formal meeting today, some of you might want to stay behind, and I can actually get you set up in an implementation session over 20 or 30 minutes after we finish. So hopefully that will work for you. If not, we'll work out some other time of doing it. But I want to just drill down a little bit and show you a little bit more around each of those 3 steps. So not necessarily in the same order, but let's think about a target. We're going to do a little case study in a second. Case study is a strong word, but we're going to look at a little example of a coffee shop. And this coffee shop has set a target that over the next 10 years, it wants to provide 1 million days of help. 1 million days of help. And we'll see how it does that. And we'll see how we can take the same principles and apply them to whatever business you're in. Now, I know none of us are in coffee shop businesses, doesn't matter. The principles apply to any business. Coffee shop is just a convenient example. We all understand coffee shops. We've probably been in one in the last few days, haven't we? But we won't have been in one like this coffee shop. So it could be that a coffee shop set a a target of 1 million days or any other number. It could be a family foundation that set a target of 100,000 days. In fact, as you'll see in a second, my goal for my family and for, because I no longer really run a business, is to help unlock 100 million days of help. So an even bigger target. Now, at each of these steps, I'm here as a volunteer. I decided that rather than working in the local charity shop, we have 4 or 5 of them I can walk to on the little high street near to me in my small town. But instead of working there as a volunteer, I would give my time to help businesses and families around the world do this kind of stuff. So this is not me trying to sell something to you other than the idea that it's a great thing to do. But actually my time and my support and all the resources I've created, including the book, are yours as my gift if this resonates with you. If you want to be that kindness, if you want to help at least one person every day, hope, or maybe more than one person every day, much hope, then this will really work superbly well with that. So at each level, I'll help you. And in this area, I will help you set your target to fit whatever budget your business or your family has. So a budget not paid to me, but a budget to fund however many days of help that you want to bake into your business so that it happens systematically. So that's the first element, and you'll see what that means in a second. But of course, setting a target like that, the risk is those are just words. And I'm an accountant by background. So I was an auditor in my early days, and then a passionate accountant, married to an accountant. My son is an accountant, my son-in-law is an accountant, and my trainee son-in-law, they're not yet engaged, is also an accountant. So we have a lot of accountants in my family. The power of going public with measurements that are real, that are audited, that actually prove the claims that a business is making and provide them with the information to make better decisions and see where they've got to take stock is crucially important. So I'm very much of the opinion that what you can measure, you can manage. What you can measure, you can improve, you can focus on, and what you can measure, you can use to inspire. And I'll help you create something like what I'm about to show you. So what I thought will be useful now is if I showed you what my measurement system, my impact statement looks like by way of an example. And I should have it up on the screen here. So this is my website, stevepike.com, and I have a global impact statement. It's the second page on my website. It's not tucked away in the small print. It's there as a second page. It sets out what my mission is. Now, this is because I'm no longer really in business. This is a composite mission for my business, such as it is. As my business is giving away my time and resources for free. In conventional terms, that's not much of a business, but it is what I choose to do. I choose to give away 1 million copies of the book and to build and support through my time and the resources and energy that I bring to the table 1,000 impact-driven businesses that want to bake kindness into their core, and I will support them for free. So that by 2030, which is the deadline for these sustainable development goals, we can together unlock 100 million days of help and plant 200,000 trees and nail these goals, or help nail these goals. And why is that my mission? Why is that important to me? Because I believe in the power of small. We can make great things happen by being the change we want to see. Now, those are all words. Those are all, apple pie motherhood statements. Anybody could say those things, and it's not your words that matter. It's your actions. It's what happens next, driven by those words. It's how we behave. We can all, and I've lost track of the number of businesses, organizations where they've got wonderful, mission statements on the wall, but those values that are on the mission statement don't show up in their behavior. This is about finding a way of taking our values, taking what we believe in, taking what we say we believe in, and making sure it turns up in every corner of our business and our lives. And so by literally being the change we want to see and creating habits that make things better for humanity and the planet. So that's the backdrop. Now, those are still all just words. So then the accountant in me wants to go public with a scorecard. So I have set those targets. This is where we're at so far. If we sit here long enough, we will see all 6,245,759 days of help that we've provided around the world over the 12 years that we've been doing this through our business and through our family. They are listed here by project, exactly the same projects listed by a geographic. This is live real-time data. This comes from the charity B1G1. They are measuring this for me. They've got a little widget which I copied and pasted onto my website once. And now there's me, the little blue dot at the middle, which is stevepipe.com. If it can focus on it, it's focused on my location here in Yorkshire and all the places in the world that over the last 12 years we've been from Yorkshire able to reach out to and make a difference. So we can see our impact by project. We can see our impact geographically when the page refreshes. And I particularly love this. We can see our impact as a family, as a foundation, as a business by each of the 17 SDGs. How many impacts of helping to tackle poverty? How many are tackling hunger? How many are addressing good health and well-being issues? How many are tackling education? SDGs 1 to 4 and so on. This is live real-time data. So that's my 6 million days of data of impacts that we have directly contributed to or directly funded and made happen. And I'll show you how we do that in a second. And then the second part of my goal is to work with a community of other businesses that share my values, that want to bake kindness into what they do. And that community has, my 6 million days plus that community's impacts of 43 million days of help, which is to me quite a staggering and inspiring. And it gets me up in the morning. And I'm retired. I don't have to get up in the morning and do anything. I get up and do this as often as I can because it puts a spring in my step, a smile on my face, joy in my heart. So that's what I mean by measurement. That's what I mean by telling the story of what we're doing in a way that's believable and credible and inspiring. Because when many people see this, if they share my values, they go, do you know what? That's beautiful. I would love to be part of that. I would love to be doing something like that. The numbers may be different. The words that we used, the mission, go to the top bit of it here, this, the mission, the so, that, and the why, we might even have that, or we might have our own completely different version of it. But whatever it is that drives us in whichever areas are most important, wouldn't it be awesome if we could measure those by project? If we could measure those by geography, if we could measure those by this global measurement yardstick of SDGs? Well, we can, either for our businesses or our families or both. And to me, that's just such a mind-blowing idea. So that's what I mean by telling the story in a way that's credible and real. So we set a target and then we tell the story. And those are the two ends, really. We set the target at the beginning, and the output is that we've got a scorecard of where we've got to. And I'll help you create that kind of scorecard, an appropriate version of that scorecard, either for your business or for your family or both. What's the bit in the middle is how we get from merely having a target, which is just words, to having taken the actions that drive those kind of results. And that's the systemize phase. And I want to just to illustrate that, we'll take a business example, but then we'll also look at how we can extend that into non-business settings, because your priority may be to use this in business, or it may be to use this in your family. Obviously, you can do it in both, and that's what I do. But you may have a priority that's one or the other. Let's just think about, for a second, coffee shop. Harry, I had no idea you were part of it. I'm thrilled to bits that you're part of it. I want to try and give you a different way of thinking about how you can use this to, and because I love what B1G1 is doing, and Paul Dunn is a personal friend, and they were kind enough to make me their first ever global impact envoy, because I'm able to give more time to these kind of things than anybody who isn't on the payroll. I'm not on the payroll. I'm a member of the community in exactly the same way that you are, and Jeremy, I think, is, and maybe some others of us. So let's think about, let's imagine you want a cup of coffee. You're out in town, you want a cup of coffee, you're standing on the high street, in front of you are two seemingly identical coffee shops. Absolutely identical. Everything about them, they're equally convenient. They're in front of you. It turns out they make equally nice coffee using the same grains, equally nice team members, equally comfortable seating. They charge exactly the same price. On the face of it, there's nothing whatsoever to distinguish between these two coffee shops, except when you go into one of the two coffee shops. Well, when you go into the first coffee shop, this is what happens. You go in, you order your coffee, you wait, and then your coffee comes. If it's Starbucks, somewhere in the middle of that process, there might be a thing on the screen that says, do you want to pay even more so that you can give to charity as well as paying us for the cup of coffee. I personally find that a little bit uncomfortable. I understand where they're coming from, but I want to give them and you a much better way of doing it than that. So most coffee shops, though, there's no sort of pressure to donate to charity, and I don't believe there should ever be a pressure to donate to charity. So the first coffee shop, you go in, you wait, they get your cup of coffee. The second coffee shop does one thing slightly differently. Whilst you're waiting for your cup of coffee, there is a little sign there. And that little sign, I'm going to share my screen so you can see the sign, is this. And that little sign says, we want, and I've got it here, we want to provide 1 million days of help to people in need over the next 10 years. So this is while you're waiting. There's that, what do you do whilst you're waiting for your coffee to be made by the barista? You're standing there in a kind of queue, aren't you? So we want to provide 1 million days of help to people in need over the next 10 years. The coffee shop says. So every time you come in, you'll be able to choose who we help that day, just by buying you. This could be the way in which you live the hope thing. Help one person every day. We'll go to this coffee shop and buy a cup of coffee, and you will automatically help one person. And it goes on to say, and it won't cost you a single penny or a single cent, whatever's the appropriate language. And then it says, to help someone today for free, just point your camera's phone at this QR code. Now, if you have, who has their mobile phone with them? That's a live QR code. If you've got your mobile phone, point your mobile phone, if you would, at that QR code and see what would happen in the coffee shop. Now, for those of you that don't have mobile phones, what I will do is I will toggle across to that same page that's opened up, but now it's on my computer screen. But if you've got your mobile phone, it will look like this, but it'll be the images will be vertical. So whilst you're waiting for your coffee, just like you've done now with your mobile phone, hopefully, it says as a thank you for coming in today. This is where that QR code takes them on their mobile phone whilst they're waiting. What else are they going to do? They're going to point it at that QR code because they've got nothing else to do whilst they wait there for the 60 seconds. As a thank you for coming in today, please choose one of these wonderful projects and we'll make it happen on your behalf, but at our expense, as part of our commitment to providing 1 million days of help to those in need. So you, the coffee buyer, can now choose whether you're going to give a day's worth of clean water, a day's worth of grain that will grow into food to feed a child for a day, or a day's use of a malaria net that will prevent them getting ill. And if you've got your phone out and you pointed at that QR code, use your finger to click on one of the orange buttons. I'm just going to click on this one here to show you what happens on a computer screen. It's exactly the same on your mobile phone. So if you were to click on it on your phone, it would say, so you've chosen water, is that right? And in fact, we just need to move this bar out the way. So yeah, that's right. And now it goes and makes that happen. Now this is using my B1G1 account, so it's got my picture and my connection with B1G. And if it was the coffee shop, it would have the coffee shop's logo. Or if it was your business, it would have your picture or your logo and your branding and a link through to your website and so on. Now you compare that with the other. So in the other coffee shop, you wait for your coffee. When in this coffee shop, you choose whatever act of kindness you choose to. In this particular case, they've chosen that I'm going to get a cup of coffee and a child in Africa is going to get clean water that day. That means they won't get dysentery. That means they won't have to spend hours going to a distant well to bring back water. When we visited Kenya and saw this stuff in person, what often happened is the youngest daughter in the family would be the one delegated the job of collecting the water. And that takes so long that often they can't go to school. There's just not enough time in the day to bring water back to the family and go to school. So they miss out on an education. But just because you bought your cup of coffee in that coffee shop, it changes everything because suddenly they don't get ill and they can go to school. And drinking water that looks like that, which is what comes out of a well, as opposed to water that looks like that. I know this is tea, but actually I've seen the stuff that they're being asked to drink. It's mud very often. So it's just such a different experience between the two coffee shops, and it's made real. Now, if we go back to that thing, so you'll have pointed your mobile phone at it whilst you're waiting. On the sign, it's got the latest, how many days of help they're up so far. In my case, it's 6 million. In their case, it's 45,000. And if they scanned the bottom QR code, if you scan the bottom QR code, that one actually is a dummy code, but it would take you to through to a version of the coffee shop's version of the page that I showed you. You know, the coffee shop's version of this, showing the coffee shop's live data. So here's the question. You're now faced with these two coffee shops. You're standing in front of them. They both charge exactly the same price. It's the market price for a cup of coffee, and you want a cup of coffee. In the chat box, so there's a coffee shop on the right. I put it on the right because, in my opinion, it's doing the right things. Or there's the coffee shop on the left that isn't doing these things. So the one on the right is the one that we've just been telling the story of. The coffee shop on the left is the other one. Would you type in left or right in the chat box, just so that we can get a straw poll of which coffee shop you're going in? There are 12 of us actually here. Let's vote with our feet, left or right. Right is the one that's doing these things, if you would. So Anne's going to go to one on the right. Jeremy's the one on the right. And Julie and Yvonne and Harry and Rhonda. And Pat and maybe some others that have jumped past me. It's not a difficult choice, really, is it? But so we've now got 12 of us queuing up to the coffee shop on the right. And I've done this with groups of 1,000 people on stage. And we've had 997 of them standing up queuing up for the coffee shop on the right. I get them to move to one side of the room or the other. And we have 2 or 3 people on the other side. And I say to the 2 or 3 people on the other side, well, why have you gone to the one on the left? And they said, have you seen the queue at the one on the right? Now, I don't know about you, but I've been in business for 20 years. My job when I was in business, I wrote multiple books around making businesses more successful. Is an example of my book that's translated into a language I've not even got a clue what it is, but the book was originally 101 Ways to Make More Profits. It's a proper book published by Kogan Page, and then they sold the translation rights. My point is, I've spent years trying to understand what makes businesses more successful. I have never seen anything that gets a queue on the right like the one we just talked about. When you bake kindness into your business model and make it systematic, and particularly when you then let the customer choose the impact that's being created. So the coffee shop could have said, every time you come in and buy a cup of coffee, we give a day's worth of water, and that's lovely. But actually, by making it interactive in the way we've just seen with that QR code, and then, you know, for some people the water will resonate, but for others it may be the anti-malarial net or the food or whatever other choices the business has put in there. It changes everything. It completely transforms what's possible. So we would all go and shop on the coffee shop on the right. Imagine if instead this is what our business did, and our families did. We've already seen that baking these kind of ideas into our business is likely to make our business more successful. You're going to get the queue like the coffee shop on the right. But even if it didn't make our business more successful, which business is the right one to own and run and operate? A business that has kindness baked into its core, that shares some of its good fortune with others, or one that's entirely selfish and entirely focused on just making profits for the owner? So, you know, even if there weren't a business case for doing this, there's a human case. There's a joy case, there's a love case, there's a spiritual case for doing this kind of thing. If we take those same ideas and build those same ideas into our families, just imagine, and we'll see in a moment the how to do it, but just imagine if our family had one of those scorecards and baked into our family's behavior every single day, at every single point, were these kinds of expressions of kindness in our interactions with each other and our interactions with the wider world, like the coffee shop on the left, the choice between the coffee shop on the left and the right. You know, which of those two families is going to be more proud? Which of those two families is going to create a better legacy? Which of those two families is going to be better regarded and better remembered? It's the family that chooses to do something systematically, to set a target, to systematically work towards it, and then to measure its performance in a scorecard. So that's the sort of, as it were, an aside on the case for doing this. If the business case or emotional human case weren't self-evidently obvious, as I think it is to this group with your values, but if it isn't self-evidently obvious, that hopefully makes sense around it. What I wanted to do is give you a sense of, and I just check make sure I give you the next bit. Yeah. So what I thought would be useful in the final bit then is that what's the general principle here? What's the general principle around systemizing? And it's really, really simple. the general principle is summed up by these two things. Just imagine if every time something that mattered to you happened, and I'll give you some examples of that in a second, we regarded that as a trigger. And we use that trigger to unlock something good in the world. So in the business case, this might be we get a lead, or we win a new customer, or we make a sale, or we get a testimonial from a customer, or we send an invoice, or a customer pays us. Those are all triggers. They're all good for me in my business. They matter to me in my business. They drive the success of me in my business. So what if we use those as triggers and shared some of our good fortune, so that every time we got a new sales lead, we maybe planted a tree, or every time we won a new customer, we fed a child, or every time we made a sale, we gave someone the use of an anti-malarial net, or every time we got a testimonial, or someone paid us on time, we gave access to clean water or education or some other support. In our business, what if we use this trigger impact connection? The coffee shop had it. Every time they sell a cup of coffee, they give you a choice of one of those lovely things to do. Well, it's not about coffee, and it's not about coffee shops. It's a general principle. There are triggers and there are impacts, and we can bake that into our behavior. That's what my book is about, essentially. And in the family situation, it's the same. We've got this same idea of triggers and impacts. The triggers. So at my age, at 62, the thing that matters most to me is waking up in the morning. I mean, literally, because the alternative, not waking up in the morning, not waking up at all, is a lot scarier. So waking up in the morning with my health and happiness. And so I celebrate waking up in the morning by jumping online and using B1G, one of those tools that I've been talking about, to make 17 good things happen every day. I've chosen them already. They're the same 17 things every day. I provide food, plant a tree, water, education, and so on and so forth. 17 things every single day. You saw it on my to-do list. So waking up in the morning is a trigger for me and my family. But there are many other triggers. There are birthdays and celebrations and anniversaries, and my kids getting jobs and getting engaged, and weddings, and buying a new house, and milestone after milestone. When my friends have birthdays, or retire, or move house, when the neighbor moves in, when all sorts of things happen, we treat those as triggers. And instead of celebrating them, well, maybe we also celebrate with a glass of wine or a bottle of champagne or flowers and chocolates. But in addition, and sometimes instead of those things, we celebrate by making good things happen in the world. So our good fortune, so our friends' good fortune, so our family good fortune ripples out and makes the world an even better place at the same time. And sometimes these things are the family member, the friend, the neighbor gets to choose what the impact is, just like you did in the coffee shop. And sometimes we've chosen for them, but we bake that into every aspect of our lives as a family, as a community, and we bake it into every aspect of our business. And that's how over the last 12 years, by baking those in systematically, setting a target and measuring where we are, the 1, 2, 3, the simple 3 steps, we can transform, and we can move way beyond hope, because we don't just have to help one person every day. We can help, well, 6.2 million in total, in very, very small ways. These are micro impacts. These are micro impacts. These are very small differences. You know, a day's worth of access to clean water is a very small difference, but they make a very profound, they add up to a very profound difference. And every single one of us can do something like this in our businesses and through our families. And I really hope you do. But my quote from before, when we were asked about them when I was on the spot, I think I said, didn't it? You know, your business and your family, every business, every family can change the world. The question is not whether you can, the question is whether you will. And that is always the question. And I love Julie's quote, you know, kindness in giving creates love. When we use our business to give in these kinds of ways, to create impact in these kind of ways, it transcends any other happiness I've experienced. And I love the quote from Susan as well. And Susan said, you know, one part of the quote was, happiness comes from your actions. Happiness comes from your actions. I can tell you that when I wake up in the morning, I look forward to making 17 things happen, 17 good things happen. That's not the only thing I do, but it's part of my daily routine. And that routine has led to so many other ideas and inspiration and energy, and brought other people on board. It was the basis of my TEDx talk. It's the basis of the book, which I would love to give to you. It's the basis of the help that I would love to provide to you each through your businesses and your families to take whichever parts of these ideas resonate most with you and make them real for you. So what I was proposing, and what I agreed with Jeremy before, was that anybody who can stay behind, hopefully I will be able to stay in this Zoom room rather than me being kicked out, and I will help get you set up. If you need me to, I will pay to get you set up to do this stuff. I'll show you the technology, and then I will be here for, I don't mean today, I mean, it's getting late, it's 11 o'clock in the UK. I will be here always for you. Whatever point, whenever in the journey you need extra help, then I'll be here for you, because this is what I do. This and looking after, we have our first little grandson, and really, Oliver is now a year old. So I'm not blessed with multiple great grandchildren, but our first grandchild came along just over one year ago, and it focused my attention even more than anything's ever done before on the fact that, you know, I've lived a privileged life, but it's the real question is what world do we pass on to our little grandchildren, and not just my grandchildren, and not just any of our individual grandchildren, but collectively grandchildren and children and future generations. And it is absolutely our responsibility, in my opinion, to do absolutely everything we can to make our values show up throughout our behavior. And our business is a perfect vehicle for that. Our families are a perfect vehicle. To me, that's what I'm here for, what I believe we're all here for. And it just felt like, from hearing each of you at the beginning, sharing your quotes and so on, it feels like what you are all here collectively for. So I'm privileged. I'm so grateful, Jeremy, for the invitation to share these ideas. Well, this is a very abbreviated version of what's possible here, but it gives you, I hope, a flavor. And hopefully some of you will be able to stay for the 30 minutes. If you can't, 20 or 30 minutes. If you can't, then the other thing that I would suggest is, and let me just share my screen one more time, because I'll put up on my screen my email address. So if you really can't stay for the next 30 minutes, or, I mean, it's fine. If this doesn't resonate with you, obviously you don't have to do this. It's entirely just creating some possibilities for you. But if you would prefer to talk at some later point in time because the next 30 minutes don't work for you, just reach out for me via email. But I would ask you to do that now. It's just be it can be one line, one sentence, you know, just to let's talk later. Just that in the headline. Just if you reach out to me via email, firstly, I can't reach you by email because I don't know who you are. And obviously there are GDPR reasons why I can't really find out. I could try and track you down on LinkedIn, but I'm unlikely to do that. No, if you want to do this, ideally stay now because we can make a start straight away. Or plan B is email me at steve@stevepipe.com. I will be here for you whenever you need me, but hopefully we're sufficiently inspired action takers that we want to do that now. That's me done.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Charlie, you muted.
Everybody's muted.
Charlie, you need to unmute.
Right. I have unmuted. There we go. Are you there, Jeremy? Would you like to take it over?
I'm going to pass over to our newest swap member, young Julie, and just give us a couple of points. Say what you got from that, and say thanks to Steve for coming. Whatever you want to say. You'll need to unmute yourself, though, Julie.
That probably would help, right? Thank you so much, Steve. I had no idea that the quote that I picked for this morning had so much relevance to what you were talking about. It just blows my mind, and it makes it, I suppose, makes it, when you look at all of the issues in the world right now, it's bigger than any of us. And when you break it down into what I can do, what my family can do, what my business can do, suddenly it's not so big. So thank you. That's been amazing. And I think whilst I can't stay this morning, I will definitely be in touch, because I feel like I can have so much more impact by implementing what you're doing and impact in the community and in amongst people that I know personally. So I just love what you're doing, and I think your generosity is amazing. And I was just meant to be here this morning. That's incredible. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, that's incredibly kind of you, and I'm so pleased that it touched you like that. One of the ways that some businesses use this, and I'm just throwing it out there as another example for anybody, is this idea that whatever we do, and it sounded like what you're doing, because you're the chicks that renovate, aren't you, Julie, if I remember rightly? So you're obviously intrinsically what you're doing is making a difference to people's lives, as indeed it sounded like each of us in our own respective way, whether it's through diet, food, or speaking, training, coaching, whatever. Our services, our products change people's lives. But what if they had double that impact? You already have a wonderful impact on the recipient, the customer. But what if they had double that impact? They had an impact on the customer and they had an impact on someone else around the world. Then these are training or books or coaching or consulting or renovations that change two lives for the price of one kind of thing. You change the life of the customer and you change the life of someone else. And maybe the customer gets to choose who that is in the same way that we did in the coffee shop through the QR code kind of thing. Then this ability of our business is able to have a greater impact than we dare to imagine on a wider stage, the planet, the globe, not just locally or within our customer base or within our database of contacts, but much wider than that. And just imagine the story that allows us to tell about what our business is here to do, and how that allows us to stand apart and stand head and shoulders above our competitors. If we want to go back to the business case, then there is a PR and branding benefit. I would never do this for a PR and branding purpose. It's a side benefit from doing the right thing, but it's a very powerful piece of storytelling also.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Julie. And also, once again, thanks, Steve. The date of our next meeting is our Christmas meeting, which will be Tuesday, the 5th of December, I believe. Is that right, Jeremy? Yep.
Yes.
And who's our speaker? Can you?
We've got two amazing speakers. There's this guy called President Charlie and Dr. Irina Yashin-Shaw, who was the president of the National Speakers Association for a long time.
Excellent. And to lead us out, well, this is going to be a little bit hard for our newbies. We have a mantra. Susan, are you there? Is Susan still there? No? Oh, I'll have to explain it. Oh, would you like to finish the meeting with "I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel great," and explain it to our members, please?
Okay, so how we go, I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel great. We do that 3 times, and at the end we clap, 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 I'm special. So let's make some noise. Who's ready? Okay.
I'm ready.
I'm alive, I'm well, I feel great.
I feel great. I'm alive.
I'm
well.
And I feel great.
I'm alive. I'm well. And I feel great.
Great.
Yes. I'm special. Excellent. Well, that's the end of our at the end of our meeting. However, for those that want to stay behind and talk to Steve, Rhonda, are you okay with that? Because you're our IT
yeah, one
manager.
second before you finish. I've got another 12 horses that have been allocated, so I'm just going to quickly pull the horses. That means everybody on will get 2 because there's just 12 of us. Okay, so Harry, you've also got number 4. Charlie, you've also got number 7.
Oh, excellent.
B. Comstock, you've also got number 23. Steve, you've also got number 6. Oh, that's just down the street from you at Solcombe in Britain. Jeremy, you've also got number 20. Julie Watt, you've also got number 5. Pat Armistead, you've also got number 16, which is Magical Lagoon. That's very fitting for you, I think. Anne, you've also got number 19, Virtuous Circle. Susan, you've also got number 18, which is serpentine. V. Empson, you've also got number 2, which is Alan Kerr. And I've also got that scratch, so that's not in there. Yvonne has also got number 17, military mission.
May I ask what 23's name is?
What, pardon?
Number 23, you didn't tell me the name. I'm curious.
Didn't know, I'm sorry. 23 is can't read my own writing. Calipore. So any of you who win horses, I'll be in touch. I think we've got your email addresses and we'll be getting your prize via PayPal. So if your PayPal email address is different to the one you use to log on with, just drop us a line or put something in the chat so I can see where to send it to. Good luck, everybody. Thanks, Charlie. That's it for me. And yes, we're good for the next session.
Excellent. Excellent. So let's continue now with the next session for those that want to stay on and talk to Steve. Otherwise, we'll see you all next month for our Chrissy meeting. See you later all. Bye.
Bye.
Charlie. Thank you.